Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but maybe that's a more conversation for another day. The conflict between like China and Taiwan.
Oh, yes.
It's like it's very vague when I try to read up on it. It's just
Oh, okay,
there's
right.
not a lot of like concrete information. It's too biased.
Oh,
It's
I
almost
see.
like
Okay.
there's people that speak for the right and there's people that speak for the left.
Right,
So
right.
there's a bit of
Okay.
extremes when I try to
Right.
read up on it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll share that some other time.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
So, yeah,
Um,
you'd like to get started with the sync today?
all right. Let me just
Okay.
share my
Yeah. And
screen.
by the way, is my voice all right this way? Is it
Yes,
clear?
yes,
Okay. All
I
right.
can hear you
I
clearly.
just changed a microphone, so I just want to make
Oh,
sure.
oh,
All right.
nice. It is very clear. Thank you.
All right. So go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Let me start with the little stuff. So I've not received the link from my leader yet. Maybe, but we'll hopefully she'll be able to send that at some point, or maybe we'll discuss it tomorrow because there's a sync session with Professor Herman.
All right.
Um, the other part was
The
I was
link
able
is
to
about the repo she's working on. Is that right?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay. All
yes.
right. Okay.
Um, the other one is I was able to schedule a session with Raghav for today around 5 in the evening,
Okay.
my
All right.
time. So I will he accepted the invite calendar request. So we should be able to have that.
Okay.
I also noticed that I tried to add Raghav. I don't know if he's joined the library yet, but I sort of added him to the vast channel because I
Okay.
noticed
Okay. The
Professor
Slack
Herman.
channel.
Yeah, but I don't know if I
Yeah.
don't think he
All
has
right.
accepted it yet, but
Okay. All right.
no worries with that. But I'll discuss that with him as well today.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
and yeah, straight to the
Is there a
research.
schedule time? Is there a schedule time with him?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it has been
Okay.
scheduled on
Okay.
Google Meet and
All right.
everything.
All right. Great. Great.
Yeah. Um, so for the proposals, I think I have quite a lot of stuff open.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the problem statement, um, so I think what I really changed was basically based on what we discussed yesterday. Um, the you I initially I started with the publish subscribe problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically saying that it's an architecture that has been used for scalability, but it doesn't support spatial data. I
Mm-hmm.
want to explore the question how it can support. Um,
Okay.
but then I tried to sort of put like a precursor to that. That okay,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I should say rise. Okay, no, sorry. The use of spatial based devices such as
Mm-hmm.
IoT sensor node, for example,
Mm-hmm.
is going
The
to keep
mobile
increasing.
devices, right? And also mobile
Yes.
devices. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, mobile
I mean,
devices.
that's a big one.
That's a big one. Yeah, yeah. Is going to keep increasing, and as such, they need to provide a scalable solution with spatial considerations in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Publish subscribe architecture is a system that has been extensively used for this, to solve for scalability. However, it does not natively support spatial data.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right. Maybe I should put in bracket spatial publish subscribe. Oh wait,
Mm-hmm.
I did put it somewhere here. Yeah.
That I
So
think that's fine. Yeah.
that's fine. Okay. We
You
would
have
like to
extensibility. Yeah.
yes, I do have that here.
Mm-hmm.
So we would like to explore if and how public subscribe systems can be extended to support spatial, should I say arbitrary data or just data?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Spatial data is
Spatial
fine, I think. Yeah.
spatial data.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, in other words, spatial publish subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yes.
that's the first step, basically, to
Mm-hmm.
explore if and how we can extend it to support. We
Right.
want to investigate, how um a spatial pop sub can performs compared to channel based pop
Mm-hmm.
house spatial performs compared, yeah. How spatial pop-up scales compared.
Mhm.
Jeez, it's like when I'm reading these things, they keep coming to me.
Okay, all right.
Um,
I think I have read the few
this part, right?
bullets. Yeah, you
Yes.
are already written. Okay, so I guess quick feedbacks. Okay.
Okay.
Some the first is I think the main question is well, comparison is one way, but it's really about how we can realize, right?
Okay.
Using the same pops up concept, but
Okay.
extending that, realizing that for spatial data, right? I think that's that the first question is kind of like, how can we do this, right?
Mm,
And it's not difficult to see that it's actually not that hard, right? All you have to do is just change the overlap check
yes.
from channel based to area based,
Area
right?
based. Yeah.
However, the challenge comes when if we want to scale this, right?
Okay.
In two aspects, right? We mentioned this. There are actually two aspects to scaling. One is the number of nodes. The other
Yes.
is like the area, right, that we want to support, right?
Yes.
Whether it's an area with limit or without limit, right?
Okay.
So that's actually the scaling issue we like to address. And obviously there are other topics. Okay,
Okay.
right? So, but it's mainly about how we can scale because with just a simple single node, single server spatial PubSub, it's not that hard to even to implement
Good
that,
name.
right?
Oh,
Okay, so
so
I think we need to point out the central question is how can we, well, one is how to support that, but also in a scalable way where we
okay.
like to explore scalability in two aspects,
Oh,
right? Number of
oh, okay.
nodes, right?
Okay.
And also the size of the area,
Okay.
you see?
I see what you mean.
So that's kind of, I think that already can form the main problem, right? The research question, right?
Yeah.
And and okay. And I guess and another note I'd like to emphasize is that we shouldn't. I don't think it's useful to say compare if spatial pops up scales better than channel based pops up.
Okay.
Okay, and the reason is that well there are I think channel based pops up has been in there for a while, right? And there are many practical systems for that, and obviously they do scale, right?
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's it's a question. Obviously, you can ask, whether there's a cheaper way to scale or a more economic way or distributed way to scale. And but that's also not our main focus. And I'm pretty sure it's already well researched. You
Yeah.
see, right?
It is.
So it's not really we're comparing the scalability of PubSub of skip spatial and channel-based PubSub. No, it's the question of, well, if we were to compare them, well, that's the qualitative question of how are they different, right? How
Okay.
can we extend the concept to apply for spatial data? And in terms of the scaling, that's a question of its own. How can we support spatial PubSub scalably?
Mm.
Okay, Victor, do you see what I'm trying to say?
I see. Basically, the research is not necessarily a comparison per se, but more of an
Exactly.
extension.
Right. No, yeah, no. I mean, to answer you, yeah. No, it's not a comparison of the scalability, okay? Because obviously spatial PubSub, you can build a scalable and a not so scalable system. And same is true for channel based, right?
Mm.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is, well, there are qualitative difference between spatial and channel based PubSub, but it's not useful to say one is more scalable than the other. You
Okay.
see, okay, it's not really a a useful question.
Okay.
Okay. Because I don't think inherently one is more scalable than the other. You see, scalability is always a question of what is your system architecture design, whether it's designed a scalable way or in a not so scalable way. And it can be, same thing can be applied and been true for both channel and spatial PubSub systems. You see? Okay.
That's what you
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So I think this basically needs to be well rewarded or basically taken out.
Right. So
because
so
it's
I
like
think right. So I think you can talk about how to extend, to support spatial data in the first bullet. The second bullet can be simply talking about how does it, how do we scale spatial PubSub in terms of the number of nodes and also in terms of the area size, right?
okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
the second point I think can be the area size, right?
Yeah.
You can think about how to word this. Okay, I guess just
Yeah.
quickly,
I'm
right?
just gonna I'm just gonna high
Right.
scale. Yeah. And then just okay.
Right. So maybe you can make a note
Support
of how many nodes it supports and,
and
uh,
sizes.
yeah, right. Can we scale the area size or can we support arbitrary area sizes, right? Right. And then the third and fourth points, I think they are related to the area size specifically, you see?
Okay.
So there are kind of like sub questions under the
Of
how do you
the
scale the area size question, you see?
okay. I see what you mean.
So I guess that that puts things a bit more in perspective, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Okay. And you can see what is the big question, which is how can we support, spatial PubSub?
Yeah.
And then how can we scale spatial PubSub? And then
Okay.
there's also how can we scale the area size within spatial PubSub, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. Awesome. Okay. Sorry. Why
Okay.
am I going up?
Yeah. All right. All right. Okay.
All right. Again, I keep reading this and I keep seeing places where I can add references. So I just highlight for now and
Mm-hmm.
sort of just take a note there that things need to change there.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing much has changed on there.
Okay.
Literature review, I think I added some new notes there, but nothing like drastic per se.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might change this to be more standardized because I think there's more general like pictures for that, but that's more of a cleanup theme. What has changed? Okay, this thing needs to be developed. I'm trying to paint a picture on the on paper as to the detail that should go in. But I have set up some time today to just clean up my calendar and make sure maybe from around like 2 o'clock till tomorrow, try to power through to try to do like a marathon.
Okay. All right. Make
I
some
added a
power
bit,
moves.
yes. Added a bit more information on the centralized and centralized. I tried to
Okay.
reword it again and
Mm-hmm.
added a few more paragraphs there. It
Mm-hmm.
was like the old stuff, so I just highlighted it in case I want to go back to that. So our approach, geez, okay, I need to change this again. But yeah, basically it's just showing, what we're trying to do, using this as a case study. Try to add some new stuff here with regards
Okay.
to the table. So basically having one universal table,
Mm-hmm.
and then it
Okay.
can be a
Of all the
reference
data, of all the
of
data structure, right?
yes, then
Okay. All
it's a
right.
bit of a reference to
Oh,
everything.
that's nice.
And then I just basically started talking about the sequence of events for the standard pops up to and yes, I think I wrote down this question. So in this pops up sequence, I think there's something missing here with regards to the gateway stat or the gateway or
Okay,
some.
okay.
I
Mhm.
don't know if that's important or if that's something that should be referenced there,
Mhm.
or
Okay.
if it's just like a paragraph that I should make note of here, where I'm so basically saying to basically the starting point of this network is there's a gateway
Mhm.
that sort of has an idea of who is matcher and who is node and allocating the geez, that's tricky and I keep confusing myself with the
Well,
gateway.
I see what you're saying. Well,
Mm.
if you look at that way, maybe one way to organize is to look at the join leave process, right?
Okay,
I mean,
okay,
that's a sequence you can also maybe describe, right? It's kind of like a sequence or procedures for join and
okay,
leave, right? There's join and then
okay.
there will be leave, right? And
And
then
oh,
there's the
okay.
publish and subscribe sequence, which I believe is what you have
This is
here.
what okay and leave.
Right.
Okay.
This
I
is
was gonna
actually the PubSub sequence.
okay. No, that's fine. I was gonna add the join and leave under the vast section to
Okay.
basically go into a bit more detail as to what vast is and talk about Voronoi diagrams a bit more in detail as well.
Mhm.
And the idea is when by the time people get to this section, which is the our pop up sequence and how we're requesting for making requests basically, there's sort of already a link that okay the vast layer already has this information or this
Mhm.
is where the network sort of comes in play. Also, I don't know if I should add in the research part, decoupling the layers.
Mhm. Yeah, you
Um,
definitely should.
coupling.
I think decoupling the layers is another important concept. Okay, because in a sense, you will be describing the architecture of such a spatial PubSub system. Okay, from the underlying network all the way to the application layer, right?
Exactly. Oh,
And
jeez,
I
I even
think,
forgot about the
right,
application.
and I think that is actually important because
Um,
one thing about research as opposed to, let's say, industrial R&D, okay,
mm,
is that in general, the results of a research should be generalized and applicable to different domains
mm,
or implementations, right? So you
okay,
can think of like SQL in database, right? There are tons of database implementations that support SQL query, right? There's MySQL, there's MS SQL, there's Light SQL Lite. So, right, you get
yeah,
the idea, right? There
there's
are a
tiny
lot of
squirrel.
implementations by different companies in different languages. However, they all adhere to the SQL language,
Okay, yes,
see, right?
to the rules.
And right, and when you're doing research work, it's kind of like you want to be the person, right, or the researcher, the designer that defines the SQL language,
Mm,
you see, and how, and perhaps like what a database processing engine in general should look like what are the different stages, right, that a database engine have, should have, what components it should have, right? What
yes,
does each
yes,
component do? You see? And that's
yes.
exactly what you're doing here for
Mm,
spatial PubSub.
okay.
You see
Oh,
that?
geez. Yeah. Um, I'm sort of seeing like the whole thing now. So there's
Yeah,
like the
that's the
vast.
forest. Yes, that's the forest, right? Don't be missing in the trees. You have to see the
Yes.
forest,
Yes, it's in the
right?
forest. Yes. I even need to include a section for the API as well,
Right.
because that's
Yes,
basically the
that's
solution
also true.
to
Yes.
to okay
So you
API
should
and
always try
application.
to separate architecture design from implementation descriptions. Okay.
Okay.
You see,
Okay.
and the idea is that so if someone looks at your paper, look at your research work, they can take your design and do their own implementation,
Mm,
maybe in a different language. You see,
yes.
and
Yes.
if your paper I mean, your work should provide the necessary information and knowledge for someone to be able to do that. In other words, to replicate your work. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I
So
think
that's
those are
what
the
you mean.
key ideas you should always keep in mind, when you're trying to do a research work.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Good.
I might have to actually decouple this our approach section as
Yes.
well.
Yes. Perhaps. Yes. You might
Because
need a little refactoring as well.
yes, yes. Because there's a section for the library itself
Mhm.
for PubSub, and
Right.
then there should be a section for the application side,
Right. Right. That's right.
where it's like a test case or
Right.
implementation side. Okay.
Right. Right.
So, oh,
Good.
nice. Okay, that's fine. So I was thinking of adding the join and leave. I think I forgot to add that part under the vast layer, where I'm
Okay.
basically discussing what vast is, how the nodes join the network and leave. And okay, that's fine. I don't think there's a lot much.
Also, I think it would be helpful to note that we are choosing and exploring Voronoi partitioning, but we also consider that it's possible to use other types of partitioning as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, just for the sake, if we're talking about spatial PubSub in general, right? Then it should be independent of the partitioning scheme.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, in theory, it should work, right? I mean, regardless of how you are partitioning the space, there
Whether
should be
it's
some
centralized or
general
just-
principles that should work across all the
Yes.
different partitioning, right?
Yeah.
And still support spatial PubSub. You see?
Absolutely.
So again, try to decouple the architecture design from the implementation details and decouple the partitioning from the overall spatial PubSub mechanism.
Okay.
Okay, and that
Yeah.
also opens additional space for other works, such as Alida's, right? She might focus on
Yes.
general partitioning. And she may or may not determine Voronoi is the best. But that's fine, in the sense that it doesn't diminish the value of your work. Okay, regardless of her findings there.
Yeah.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's actually a really big and wide project.
And that is what you should do in a PhD work.
Yes.
You should think of this as creating a platform for other master's students or subsequent researchers who might be interested to continue the exploration.
Okay.
Right?
Basically,
so in a
sort
way,
of,
you're building this framework platform architecture for other people to build upon.
Okay.
Okay.
So like a research with sort of open-ended questions.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And the best
people
research is not the one that provides the best answers, actually. It's the one that asks the best questions.
Best questions. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I was gonna go after that sort of but there definitely needs to be a lot of decoupling now that I think about this section.
Okay.
That's fine. Preliminary results, I think I really need to think about this properly.
Okay.
In terms
Okay,
of for example, from there has to be sort of, again, I'm thinking about the decoupling section now. There has to be some form of decoupling from vast level or how do I put it?
So I guess it's some food for thought. Okay.
Yes.
Actually, you can even write that as your preliminary results, in the sense that that's the work. I mean, you can sort of summarize what we've already discovered so far, right? What we have designed and discovered so far. But like, what are some issues we are still solving, and we don't fully have the answers yet. And obviously, that is what we intend to finish within this body of work. Right?
Okay. Also, maybe
Yeah. You see?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, preliminary results is preliminary. So it doesn't
Yes.
have to be complete, full, or correct.
Okay.
Okay. But I mean, think of it as like just sharing what we have discovered or what we have done, what we have created so far.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah. It's all right. But I have set apart some sort of cleaned up my calendar a bit for today because I know
Okay.
today is like probably the last day. This should be
Yes.
done before tomorrow.
You have
Yeah,
one more day.
I have one day.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm still very positive about it.
Okay. Okay. That is actually my question to ask. So how do you feel about meeting the deadline, which is tomorrow?
Uh, I am positive.
Okay. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I am. Because again, like it's all down to there's a direction, and I think this problem definition maybe it's for next time. Now I know I should have focused on that first,
Okay. Okay.
because by focusing on that first, that would have provided a perfect framework. So it's like there's problems, and then the rest of the chapter is just answering questions with the problem. Or
Right. 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 You can think of yes. Yes. I think that's the right way to think. Yeah.
um I just sort of populated stuff from the beginning.
Okay.
So
Okay.
but it's
All
fine.
right.
I sort of know exactly what needs to be done. I already have the references. I just need to find them.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
but
So it's
yeah,
a question of how to arrange, right? How to arrange. I
yes,
mean, in respective places.
exactly. And
Okay.
also the flow, just making sure I have to basically so what I do sometimes I print out the the work
Mm-hmm.
and then I read it from paper,
Right.
because that also makes a big difference.
Right.
So I'll do that as well and try to
Okay.
read it again
Nice.
and make
Okay.
some corrections as well, maybe in the evening, and then tomorrow morning it should be done.
Okay.
Done
Nice.
and dust.
Yes. So what is the main, I guess, main challenge now for you from your perspective? The main challenge or block ahead?
um, what's the main challenge? That's a good question.
Right.
Um, the main challenge I think that I might encounter is probably maybe getting stuck.
Oh, getting
I
stuck.
don't think
Okay.
I will, but
Okay. Okay. I
sometimes you
see.
sort of get
All right.
stuck and then you
Okay.
lose motivation again.
I see. Okay.
Um,
All right. So
but
just a quick feedback on regarding that. If you get stuck, spend a little time to work down there, but then just move on.
okay,
Okay. Because I'm pretty sure you have a lot of things that's on the plate now. So try to bullet list them and then, just avoid just move to the next thing.
okay,
Okay. Basically, think of this as, a puzzle. You're filling out a puzzle with many
yes,
different places, different pieces. Your goal is not, you know that probably you're not going to fill out 100%, but it's quite possible you can fill out 80% of the puzzles, you see?
yeah,
And some are easier than others. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So right now the trick and the goal is to get that 80% filled. So if you get
okay,
stuck, just move on to the next.
okay,
Okay.
yeah, I hear you.
All right. All right. So maybe you can plan for today. I mean, what are the
Just sorry.
yes?
Okay. I think for me it's pretty clear. Finish up and let me just copy this because um okay, just finish. I'm just gonna say finish research proposal.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Oh, okay. What's that thing called? Decouple.
Right. A couple that.
Three and that. let me just select a couple of sections. Let's see. Meet. So that's for Thursday. So, I don't know if there's anything new. No client yet, I'm guessing. That's more or less.
I'm
long-term
waiting.
goal.
I said I'm waiting for David's response,
Okay.
basically.
So 16th, yeah, session, yeah. Yeah, I think that's more or less it.
Okay. All right, good. Okay. So don't get stuck. And,
Yes,
try to
no,
move on.
it will be done. Just
Okay.
need to
Great.
sit down and finish it.
Yeah.
Marathons.
Yes. It's a 1-day sprint. So
Yes,
yes, it
yes.
should be okay. All right. So well, see
Thanks
you
so much.
tomorrow. Okay. And
Yes.
I'll be hearing your good news. Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay.
Good news tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Talk tomorrow then. Yeah. Bye bye.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Take care. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.